How House of the Dragon ties into Game of Thrones. Explained. Did somebody say dragons? Over 3 years have passed since Game of Thrones aired its highly controversial finale. After what seems like forever, the franchise finally returns with the highly anticipated prequel series, House of the Dragon. While this series is still based on a George R.R. Martin A Song of Fire and Ice title, House of the Dragon is co-created by the book author and Ryan J. Condal, putting fresh eyes on the franchise after a decline in quality in the later seasons of Game of Thrones. But what exactly makes this story important enough to write before finishing the long-awaited 6th book, The Winds of Winter? Think back to long ago, when Game of Thrones first hit TV screens in 2011. It's important to remember the original series' Targaryen protagonist, Daenerys, Emilia Clarke, beginning to connect House of the Dragon to her and the larger political state Westeros in Game of Thrones, even though this series takes place around 2 centuries before. When Daenerys' story first starts, she is sold by her brother, Viserys, Harry Lloyd, into a marriage with warlord Khal Drogo, Jason Momoa. At this time, she and her brother are the last living Targaryens, having previously escaped Westeros when their father was killed by Jaime Lannister, Nikolai Coster-Waldau, during Robert's Rebellion. Once Viserys dies, his sister is the last legitimate Targaryen remaining if we ignore her cousin, Jon Snow, Kit Harington, who is also a Stark. Consequentially, he is also the last of their entire ethnic and cultural group, the Valyrians, as the rest of them were killed in a natural disaster a bit more than a decade after the Targaryens fled the continent to Westeros, the event having been prophesied. The history of the Targaryens helps set the world stage for Game of Thrones, explaining why the family is something to be feared while the rest of the important families in Westeros also treat the foreigners with disdain. After all, the family did basically invade and conquer a vast majority of the lands. And incest. However, on the other side of things, much of Daenerys' character can be further analyzed through the lens of the conflict that House of the Dragon explores, and maybe we can forgive her some for her final decisions and actions from her final arc on the show. House of the Dragon will explore the downfall of the house that brings such fear and disdain. From a house that was able to conquer almost all the major houses under one king to a house consisting of a brother and sister in hiding. In true Game of Thrones fashion, the crux behind the issue turns out to be misogynistic, whether their society can accept a woman taking the throne and under what conditions would it be acceptable. When King Viserys I, Paddy Considine, continued to prepare his eldest daughter for the throne, despite the birth of a male heir in a second marriage, the crown became highly contentious. This eventual struggle for the crown leads to an all-out Targaryen civil war known as the Dance of Dragons, that would eventually lead to the thinning of the already thin Targaryen bloodline and the near extinction of the world's dragons, with another one unseen for around 150 years. Just mere centuries later, the last known remaining Targaryen by blood would be a bastard banished to the north after killing the other last remaining Targaryen, who he was in love with. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe my channel and press bell icon button for more videos.